Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another Shop My Stash Project Pan video. I do these videos on a monthly basis, usually towards the end of the month. Sometimes they come up at the beginning of the next month if I'm falling behind with my video schedule. But I like to talk about the products that I am picking out from my collection, basically shopping my stash, that I want to work on for the next month. Sometimes, although my collection is very curated, which is basically a friendly or a nice way of saying that it's not very big, but even still, sometimes I feel like a little overwhelmed with all of the options. And so a Shop My Stash is a nice way to kind of narrow in on a group of products that I want to work on without having to like use my whole collection on a regular basis, if that makes sense. And so it gives me a little bit of time to focus on a smaller collection, and then I switch that out on a monthly basis. However, I'm also calling this a Project Pan because I am counting usage, and I have to use each product at least 5 times before I can roll it out of this project. The reason being is I don't want to roll things in and then not use them, because what's the point of having them in my collection in general if I'm not using them? And so this kind of like forces me in an easy way, because 5 times over the course of the month is not hard. Although sometimes I don't hit that number, which is okay, because then I just roll the product into the next month. But I do that, so then I am basically having a usage Project Pan and using everything at least 5 times and making sure that I'm making, you know, small progress on every product that I'm working on. So how I structure these videos is I talk about all the products that I had in last month's rotation, then I put them back in my collection, we pick out new products, and then I talk about those a little bit with you. So if any of that is interesting, or all of that's interesting, which like hopefully it is, please keep watching. Alrighty, so to kick it off, I did have a product that I did not hit my usage goal on last month, that I did hit my usage goal on this month, and that is the Tarte Tarteist Glow Highlight. This is just a liquid highlight. I don't really use liquid or cream products that much in terms of like bronzer, blush, highlight, and so this is one of the ones that kind of falls into that category that I have a hard time figuring out like use cases for this. And so what I did last month and this month is I just mixed a little dollop in with my foundation and then put it on. But honestly, I couldn't really tell a huge difference when I was wearing it versus when I wasn't wearing it. And so this kind of falls into the category of something that I would probably declutter next time I do that in my collection, because I'm just not seeing the value that much in keeping it for me personally. But that being said, I did manage to hit 5 uses on it, so happy with that. So something I used way more than 5 times is my Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage Foundation. I used this 17 times this month. The reason being is, and I explained this I think in my last video, I am mixing it together with the foundation that's in my Project Pan, which is my Uomo Beauty foundation, because this one's a little too dark for my pale winter skin tone, and I haven't really been self-tanning, and so this one kind of helps it mix and I get a color that works a little bit better for me. I really enjoyed using this foundation. It's very full coverage, a very little bit goes a long way, and sometimes I feel like it's a little much. Like I feel like it's a little, cakey's not the word, but that's what's coming to mind right now, and so I don't always love it for that, but in general, I find myself enjoying this. And so happy to have it in my collection, happy that I got 17 uses on it this month, and because I was mixing it, it wasn't like a full amount that I would use normally, but just in general, happy to have some progress on that. And also, you know, figure out that I think probably I like mixing this versus just using it on its own, because I feel like that helps it not feel like as heavy on the skin. I also had my Kosas Cloud Set powder in this rotation. I love this powder. I only used it 5 times because, as you may know, I'm working on a powder in my Project Pan, and I'm very close to hitting pan on that, or finishing it actually. There's a very large pan in it. So I kind of just used this the bare minimum so that I could continue focusing on that one, but love the way this looks on my skin. Feels very light, looks very smoothing on the skin. I know people have talked about getting hard pan on this and makes it like not as fun to use, and I have a little bit around the edge, but fingers crossed it just stays there and the rest of it's good. But very happy to have this in my collection, and also very happy to have used it this last month in this project. The next 2 products I'm going to talk about at the same time, and that is the blush and the highlight I had in this project. I also used both of these 17 times this month. This is the Marbled Light blush from Ciate London in the shade Dusk. I absolutely love this blush. Like, this has probably become one of my favorite blushes in my collection, if not my favorite. I just think it's beautiful. I love the way it goes onto the skin, and I very much enjoyed using it this past month. So happy that I rolled it into this rotation. And my highlight is my tried and true Becca highlight in the shade Champagne Pop. As you can see, I have a very large pan for a highlight in this highlight. And so I love using this one. I love the shade of the highlight. I just enjoy all around having this in my collection and also rolling it into this project. So I was very happy to roll it into the project. Very happy to see the pan grow a little bit over the month that I used it. So all good things there. Nothing bad to say about either of these products. I also always roll an eyeshadow in, a single eyeshadow that said, into this project because I feel like I don't use them as much as I should if I don't. And so this month I rolled in this NARS Dion eyeshadow. It's very silver in the pan, but it also on the eyes like more of that pewter color. I very much enjoyed using this. I wore it a lot layered on top of Sponsored, which is one of the eyeshadows that I'm working on in my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. So I think it ended up playing really well with some of the shades that I was already working on. So I was happy to be using it. And I don't see much of a dent or progress on this one, but I was excited to get to use it 6 times this month and make a little bit of progress on it. This liner is my Avon black eyeliner. It's been in this project pretty much this whole time. I used it 8 times this past month, and it's just something that I continuously keep in this project because I want to finish it up. So it's kind of like I'm panning it, but I'm panning it within this usage style project pan, which probably doesn't make sense, but it's just something that I continue to use very regularly in the hopes that I finish it sooner than later. And so I just want to get to the point where I can't sharpen it anymore, and once I'm there, I will consider this done. I have used this eyeliner for years and years and years, and so very excited to see this be completed at some point in the future. And I did sharpen it this past month, so that means progress was made. Speaking of eyeliners, I also rolled in my Makeup Forever Aqua Resist colored pencil in the shade Ivy. I absolutely love this liner. I used it 7 times. It's this really pretty plum color. I very much enjoyed having it in this project. I liked the plum during the fall time. I felt it played really nicely with the eyeshadows that I was working on in my Pan Those Eyeshadows because I have a very maroonish shade, and I also have a purple shade, and so I feel like it kind of fell in between those and worked really, really nicely, especially when I was smudging out my lower lash line. So it was good. I think this is a good one to have worked on in October. I feel like it's a really great shade for the fall and winter. Speaking of shades that are really great for fall and winter, let's talk about the 2 lip products that were in this project. First being the Rare Beauty Matte Lip Cream in the shade Brave. I mean, this is just a stunning shade. I love this lip product, and I was so happy to have it in the rotation this past month. It's just so beautiful. It's not super orangey, but it has like that hint of orange. It's this cream, so it's not like in your face, but more mellow. I don't know how to describe it, but it's beautiful. It makes me want to buy like every single one of these matte lip creams. They're in my cart on the Sephora app, but I have yet to purchase them because like I need to control myself, especially when it comes to lip products. I have so many, but I love them. I love them, and I was happy to have worked on that, and I used that 5 times this month. And then I also had my Maybelline Divine Wine lipstick in this project, and I used this 6 times this past month. Also was very happy to have it in the project. This one's a little bit harder to wear on a regular basis because it is such a dark shade, and with like going into the office, I don't want to be smudging lipstick on myself or just like being too much, I guess. I have this like weird fear of just being overly made up at work. I know I've talked about this with you guys before. I feel like it's probably something that's more in my head, but alas, it's still there. And so I wore this 6 times though, and I just love it. It's a stunning shade. I've had it for a while now, and it's like the perfect fall shade. So I was so happy to have rolled it into this project, and I've gotten the opportunity to wear it as I have. And I feel like I keep saying that with all of these products, but I think that goes to say of like, when I talk about my collection being curated, it truly is, because I really do like all of the products for the most part that I have in my collection. So that's pretty cool. And the last product that I have is this Carli Bybel lip gloss in the shade Twilight, and I used this 10 times this past month. This is a really pretty lip gloss because it has like a little bit of like a purple hint, and it also has sparkles in it, so like a glitter, and so the finish of it looks really glossy and like glimmery and shiny because of those sparkles. And so I actually wore it layered on top of the Divine Wine a few times. That's actually what's on my lips today, and I really like how the two of them play together, because I feel like this kind of mellows out like the dark matte coming from this shade and adds like a little bit of that lightness, a little bit of that glimmer, and I feel like they looked very nice together. And so I've been enjoying them, pairing them together, and that's something that I've never worn before together. And so that's to say, like, this project has now opened up a new door for me in lip products that I like to pair together, and that's like one of the benefits of panning. That's one of the benefits of doing projects like this, and so I absolutely am thrilled by that, because I will definitely wear that combo again in the future. That is how I did on this month's project. I hit the usage goal on every single piece, which is awesome. I'm going to keep my Avon liner still in this project, but I'm going to put everything else back, and then we're going to go through and pick out some new products to work on. All right, let's pick out some new products. You all have heard me talk about primer like a million times. I don't know how I feel about primer, and yet I have it in my collection, and so I feel like I should use it, or I feel like I should figure out a way to really like primer. And so I don't know, I'm so torn on the whole primer situation, although I do have this Glossier Future Dew Serum Hybrid. I don't know if it's necessarily considered a primer. It's supposed to add a glow to your face, and so I really haven't used this a ton. And I think as we're getting into the winter months, it might make sense to have something like this in my Shop My Stash. Try it out. I don't know, guy. I feel like I'm just trying to figure out a way to make these products that I have work, and I'm not sure if they are or not, but it's okay. We're gonna keep trying. In terms of powder, I think I am gonna pick a new powder, and I think I'm going to pick my Ciate London Everyday Vacay powder. It smells so good, and I feel like that's a nice little like treat in the middle of winter to have a powder that smells delicious. That kind of gives me reason to pick out my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer too, but I think I'm gonna do this. Ooh, I also have the Marc Jacobs bronzer. Let's do that one. I don't know if I've ever even rolled this in to my Shop My Stash. I've honestly forgot it was even in my collection, so let's pull that one in. I am still working on my Fenty Beauty bronzer, which has been in my project pan like all year, pretty much all year. I think it's been in all year, so, but we are getting very close, so I think I could probably spare a little bit of my usage time to work on that, hopefully. For highlight, I am thinking about pulling this Trestique highlight back in, just because I really like this as an inner corner highlight. So I think I'm gonna work on that a little bit. And then for my other highlights, let's see. Why don't we spend some time with MAC? Soft and Gentle, always a classic. I think it's probably good for this time of the year. And then for blush, I have these options, but then I also have in this palette some additional options for blush. And I'm wondering if I want to work on this Makeup Geek blush that I have in the shade Romance, that I have a pretty good size pan on, and I feel like that is the direction that I do want to go. So I'm gonna work on that blush this month, because I don't think I have for a while. And then of course we gotta pick out my single shadow that I want to spend some time on this month. What about this ColourPop? Let's do it, this ColourPop Super Shock Ultra Glitter in the shade Frog, because I had to declutter my other one because it got dried out. So let's see if that one works still. And if it's dried out like the other one that I bought at the same time, then I'll probably just declutter this as well. But let's give it a shot in this Shop My Stash. I think that's fair. And then for liners, I'm gonna just leave my Avon black liner in this month. And I'm not sure I want anything necessarily from this. Actually, let's pull in this lip product. This is the Stila Stay All Day Liquid Lip. I've had that forever. Let's make a little progress on that. But I do also want to pull in another lip product. because I'm not working on one anymore in my project pan. Well, I'm working on a lip liner in my project pan. And I totally skipped over foundation. Oops. I was debating between the Makeup Forever and this NARS foundation. I think I'm gonna pull in NARS. And then let's pick some lip products. Ooh, I think this NARS lipstick in the shade Stefina is gonna be fun. So I'll put that in. And then I think maybe a more neutral, which is Touch of Spice by Maybelline, maybe? Or this is Lipstick Queen, The Truth. Or we have Soap and Glory Super Nude. Let's do this one, since the Stila has some color, as does the one by NARS. And then I also want to grab a gloss. I think I'm leaning towards my Fenty Beauty Gloss in Fussy. And if I want to think about a spray, so I have my Charlotte Tilbury and my L'Oreal Lumi. Let's pull in the L'Oreal Lumi. I am working on a spray in my project pan, but I think I might be all right to use this for a few times just to get some usage on it. All right, now that I have my products picked out, let's get back on camera and I'll talk through them real quick. That was probably the most fun I ever had selecting new products for this project. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it. And so let's talk about them. I think we can kind of go through by category. So for base, I selected this Glossier Future Dew Oil Serum Hybrid. I consider this a primer, but I also feel like it's kind of just like skincare, so I'll be curious to see how I like this kind of layered under my foundation. I also picked out my NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I will continue to do a little mixeroo foundation concoction with my Elma Beauty foundation that's in my project pan. So happy to have this to roll in there. I also picked out a powder. This is the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. Has that beautiful, delicious coconut smell, which I seem to really enjoy. So excited to pull this one in. And then for blush, highlight, and I also pulled in a bronzer. I have selected the Marc Jacobs bronzer in the shade Tantric. And then I also selected MAC Soft and Gentle Highlight. Love that one, classic. There is a pan in here, so hoping to build that one or grow that pan. Same with my blush. This is a Makeup Geek Romance blush, pretty big size pan in here. I'd like to see some pan expansion on this product as well. In addition, for eyes, I selected this Trustique. It's like a stick highlighter, but I really like using this in my inner corners, so I picked that out. And then I also picked out my ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Frog, because I bought this at the same time as another Super Shock Shadow that I rolled into my Shop My Stash a few months ago at this point, and that one was really tough to use because it was so dried out. So I think I'm gonna put this one to the test and see if it's worth keeping in my collection or if it's just kind of past the point like that other one was. And then for lips, I picked out several now looking. So I have 3 like lip colors and then a lip gloss. So I picked out my Stila Stay All Day liquid lipstick in the shade Patina. This is a classic. I need to make some progress on that or just kind of roll it out of my collection if I feel like it's donezo. And then I picked 2 lip shades. So I picked a NARS lipstick in the shade Stefina, which is this really like bright, fun pink color. So excited to experiment a little with that. And then I also picked this Soap and Glory lipstick in the shade Super Nude. So super nude, as it says. That one I may just mix with other shades or kind of layer it to mellow something out, or just wear it with a gloss. And so I rolled in my Fenty Beauty gloss in the shade Fussy, which I absolutely love. And so I'm really excited to use this. And then lastly, I rolled in a setting spray. This is the Shake and Glow Dew Mist, the Lumi Shake and Glow Dew Mist by L'Oreal. I love this one, so excited to be working on it. That is it. Those are all the products that I'm going to be working on in my Shop My Stash usage project pan over the next month or so. I hoped all of you enjoyed getting to see this video and kind of how I think through what I put in to this project. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.